Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Nasa Stred. Today on the channel, I'll be showing you how to make a princess dad bustier, also known as armhole dad bustier. So if it's something you're interested in, keep watching. Let's get started. So these are the fabrics we'll be using for this project. I have this lace, cord lace. I have my Ankara, my lining, and then my wadding. So the first thing we want to do is to draft out on our pattern paper. So I've just drawn a line at the top to indicate my starting line. All right. Then you notice that the paper isn't folded into two. So I just went ahead to make a mark in order to indicate my center front of my paper. Then I'll go ahead and mark a neck width of 3 inches and mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5 inches. And from there, I'll go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant and connect it into the neck width I marked earlier. All right. So from the point where I went down by 1 inch, I'll be marking my armhole length. Now, to get this measurement, divide the circumference of your bust by 6 inches. Whatever you have, add 1.5 inch to that. So whatever your round bust is, divide that by 6 inches and then add 1.5 inches. So on that line, the horizontal line I just drew, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder measurement again. This is so that I can have a straight line when I'm connecting it together vertically. So you can see what we have there right now. So I'll go in and impute my other vertical measurement, which is my bust point, my under bust point, my half length, and then where I want the top to end. So if you want to use a peplon for yours, you can just add 1 inches to your half length and then work with that, add your peplon to it. But if you don't want to, or you want yours to be longer, just indicate by adding more allowances to your length. So I'm just going in with my rule to mark the lines. Okay, so right here I decided to add up half of an inch to my that from my under bust to my half length instead. Now this helps to give it better kick. All right. So instead of using 16 inches, which I marked earlier, I decided to use 16.5 inches. Now from the onset, I was adding half of an inch to my body measurements to this. All right. So just do the same thing. It's going to work perfectly for you. I promise you that, apart from your full length. So you can see we have our lines all down. We'll just go ahead and label this our chest line, the bust point, the under bust, the half length, and then the full length of our top. All right. So the next we want to do is to get our arm curve, our armhole curve. So to do that, I'll take the measurement I have there and then get the midpoint. And from that midpoint, I'll go in by half of an inch, also make a mark there. Then Then on my chest line, I'm going to mark quarter of my round bust. That is your round bust divided by 4 inches. I just went ahead to mark that down. Then I'll go in with my curve rule to just make a curve at that end like so. Okay, you can see what we have there. So what next we want to get is our depth, right? So to get your dart, you need your bust pan. For me, my bust pan is 7 inches. Divided by two, I have 3.5. But since we're working on a princess dart, we'll be using 4 inches at the bust point. So whatever you have for yours, say for example, after dividing, you have 8 and you have 4. Add half of an inch to that to give it 4.5. Then from the other ones, like your underbust, the half length and the full length, you go back to your actual measurement. Okay. So for me, mine is 7 inches divided by two. I have 3.5 inches. But on my bust point, I marked 4 inches. Then the underbust, the half length, and the full length, I marked 3.5 inches. I hope you got that right, okay? And I just connected them together. Then I'm going to make a line to connect the points I've made to meet the midpoint of my armhole also. So you can see the line we have there. This is what it will look like. All right. Then from the underbust area, I'll be going out by 2 inches. Now, if you are on a bigger bust size, you can use 2.5 inches. All right, it's going to work. Say from 42 inches upwards, you can use 2.5 inches. It simply depends on your bust. Okay, then I'll just connect the lines together. So I marked that 2 inches on the under bust, on the half length, and then on the full length, and connected it together. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is just use my curve rule to connect that point to meet the line at the bust point. Okay, so just watch closely so you get a better understanding of what I'm saying. So you can see that. All right. So from the armhole area, we'll go down by 2 inches and make a mark there. Then also connect that with a straight line to meet the bust point also. So you can see how easy this is. Okay, it's quite easy to understand. All right. So you notice I just went in with my marker to touch up the lines because I noticed it was too sharp at that edge. So you shouldn't have any sharp edges, okay? Then on the armhole area, you notice we have one line longer than the other. So if you cut that like that, you have a shortage somewhere and it's not meant to be like that. So you extend your line by 2 inches. That's the 2 inches you came down by. You use that to extend your line outward so that by the time you're stitching the both of them together, they are going to meet properly. Is the reason why you're adding this. If not, there will be a shortage at the long run. Okay, so we have that down. The next one to get is circumference measurement. So the chest we already marked our chest, quarter of our chest. Okay, then you take the measurement you have there. That's the dart intake, which for me is half inch plus 2 inches, which I'll be using for my seam allowance. So the seam allowance for this is 2 inches. You can decide to use whatever seam allowance you want for yours. All right. So I'm just extending my lines firstly because I noticed my measurements were going out of line. All right. So like I said, I already measured, I firstly measured quarter of my round bust. So I just added 2.5 inches to that measurement, like so. And then I'm extending my armhole curve to meet that point. Okay, so this is the new armhole we'll be making use of. Okay, this is our new armhole. All right. So after doing that, the next you want to get is the under bust measurement. So the under bust measurement, you divide also whatever measure circumference you have there, divide by 4, mark it down, take in your dart allowance, which is 2 inches for this case, and then 2 inches for inseam allowance. Repeat the same thing on the full length. Take the measurement you have there, indicate the dart intake, all right, and then also add your inseam allowance. So remember I said my seam allowance for this is 2 inches. For the underbust and the full length, I took 2 inches for my dart. So you're meant to add 2 inches, all right? So that's just it. The next you want to do is to connect it together with our row. Okay, so we have our bodies down. All right, you can see how this looks. So the next one to work on is our neckline. So now I want a sweetheart neckline for this top. So what I'll do is to go down by 6 inches. Remember, I already marked the width of our neckline. So I'm going to repeat that width measurement on that 6 inches point. Then I'm going to square up that part. So just watch what I'm doing closely. So I came down by 6 inches for my neck depth. That is simply what I did, and I marked 3 inches inwards. Okay. Then I'm going to take the measurement I have there, which is 6 inches, and get the midpoint, which is 3 inches. Then go in and rule a line there to give it then after which I'll just go in with my rule to just copy. So this is a simple way to get the sweetheart neckline. If you want to, you can use any neckline of your choice. It totally depends on your preference. Okay, so this is our front. We'll go ahead and cut this out. So just watch closely how I'm cutting this out, because every mistake you make is going to tell by the time you finish making your outfit. So this is our front piece. Okay. So when cutting out on your fabric, ensure you cut this part on fold because that's the center front, and then cut the side front times two. So you need two of that one. All right. So keep this aside and work on the back. So for the back, I just went ahead to mark 1.5 inch for my zip allowance. You can see that I've already indicated that. And I also marked out a line for my starting point. So I'm marking the same neck width of 3 inches, half of my shoulder, which is 7.5 inches, and I'm going down at that point by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. So I'm simply just repeating the basic things I did at the front. Okay, so this top is going to have princess darts at the front and at the back. Okay, so I'm just simply repeating the same thing I did. You mark divide your round bust by 6, add 1.5 inches so that you can get your armhole length, and then mark that as your chest line. All right. Okay, so the next we want to do is to get the midpoint of our armhole like we did in front. We're going to mark that down and then take the quarter measurement of our round bust, as our round bust divided by 4, mark it down and just give a curve there for our armhole curve for the back. All right. So we'll go in and take our other measurements. So I'm using a 1.5 inches for my neck depth for the back. There's nothing much at the back. All right. Then we'll go in and mark our shoulder to our bust point, our shoulder to our under bust point, the waist, and then the full length. So whatever length you use for the front, ensure it's the same thing you're using for the back. Whatever measurement you're using for the front, ensure you're using the same thing for the back. You don't want your back to be longer than the front. Okay, so if you're using 20 inches for your length in front, use 20 inches for the length at the back. It needs to be matching perfectly. So I just went in with my rule to just indicate my lines properly. All right, so I'm going to label these: the chest, the bust point, the underbust, the half length, and then the full length. Okay, so the half length is also the waist. All right. Then the next thing we want to do is to mark out our dart. So in this case, just divide your bust pan by 2, which is 3.5 inches. So mark that from your bust point down to the full length. Okay, and then connect the points you made together with a straight line. All right. Then at the waist area, that's the half length area, you go in and out by half of an inch on both sides. So half inch on one side and half inch on the other side. Then you connect that to the top of your dart. That's where the bust area is, where it started, on both sides also. Okay. Then from the full length area, I'll be going up by 1 inch. I'm going to mark that down and then connect my dart to meet that 1 inch point I came up by. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so the next one to do is to connect that midline to the middle of our armhole. So remember I said it's going to be a princess dart front and the back. You can decide to do a normal dart at the back. It's going to work perfectly. All right, so just go ahead and did that connection now. Then the next thing you want to do is on the leg of the dart coming from the armhole area, we're going to go up and down by 0.75 inches. So you go up by 0.75 inches, sorry, and then you go down by 0.75 inches. So after doing that, you connect that also to meet at the bust point. All right, so you can see what we have there. So we're going to do the same thing like we did for the front. We're going to be extending the leg of our dart. So the measurement we have there is 1.5 inches. So we're going to extend that by 1.5 inches. Now, the importance of extending this is that your the sides are not short. If you don't extend it, the sides will be short. It will pose a big problem for you while you're making a princess dart. So it's important you adjust, you make this little adjustment to avoid any issues. Okay, they'll go in and take in a round measurement, just like we did for the front. Quarter of the bust, sorry, yes, quarter of the bust divided circumference of the bust divided by 4, mark it down, take the dart allowance you have there, and then add 2 inches of inseam allowance. So ensure your seam allowance is the same thing also as you have for the front piece, okay? So around the waist, we're going to repeat the same process. Half of the waist measurement, take in the dart allowance we took there, which is 1 inch, and then mark our inseam allowance. We do the same thing at the full length. So we're just simply taking the circumference measurement. After doing that, go ahead and connect them together in a straight line or curve, depending on how yours turn out. So you can see how mine is like this. All right, so this is our back. All right, so for the zip area, we want to tighten our zip area. Okay, I noticed I did not extend my necklines into the zip part of the back, so I just went in with my curve rule to just extend the neck out. So you can see I just extended that. There was nothing too much there. So at the zip area from the waist point, I'll be going in by half of an inch. This is in order to eliminate any form of bulge by the time I fix my zipper. Then I'll connect from that half of an inch to nothing at the top of, you can see, and then connect it also to nothing at the bottom. So when you go in by half of an inch, connect it to nothing at the top and then nothing at the bottom. So this is the back. All right, just go ahead and cut it out. So this is what we have for our back piece. So remember, we have the back that has a zip. So while cutting your back on the fabric, you need to have two pieces of each of them. So you need to cut out two pieces for the center and then two pieces for the sides. So I've gone ahead to cut it out on my different fabrics I'm using for this. This is what we have for the back. I'll keep this aside. Then this is what we have for the front. Okay, now remember earlier in the video I showed a lace. So we're going to be working with this. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with our lace fabric. Okay, so what I'll do is to, okay, before that, I ensured you notch your underbust point. It is important you notch it for both your center piece and your side piece of the front. Okay, so to attach our lace, I'll go ahead and open the main fabric, that's my Ankara fabric. Okay, so you can see our neckline, see how nice it is looking already. Okay, then I'm going to take my lace. Okay, at a point I was confused where I was going to use for the front or the back of this, so I decided to use the part that was fuller. Okay, so I just place this way, and then I'll go in with my hemming gum. All right, I'll go in with my hemming gum. So this is a hemming gum. I'll go in with it. I'm going to be placing my hemming gum in between my fabric and my lace. So ensure you're placing the right side of your lace upwards, placing the right side of your Ankara upwards while you're doing that. It's important for you to be like that so that you don't make any mistakes. All right, so I've gone ahead to do that. You can see how it looks like, and I went ahead to cut out the wording for this. So this is my front piece. This is also that of the side front. Okay, I just went ahead to gum my lace to that and then attached my wording to it. All right, so I repeated the same thing. I started to add wordings to my lining. I don't know why. I like doing that because it gives it a better fitting. If you've never tried that, try it, you'll see what I mean. And then for the back piece, I also did the same thing. I just attached my lace to my main fabric, and nothing, I didn't gum anything to my lining apart from the All right. So what we want to do for the back now is to start joining. So we want to start sewing together. So I'll pick one part of the back to show you how to do this. Okay. So what you need to do is to place it together like so, ensuring the right sides are matching. So to note this, ensure you notch your zip allowance area. So you're not placing this on the zip allowance area, you're placing this on the other area. Just go ahead and pin it all through, ensuring that they are matching like they should. All right, so this is what I have. You can see how this looks like. Okay, I'll go ahead and stitch that by half of an inch and repeat that for the other parts of my back piece. Now for the front piece, I'll be doing same similar thing. Okay, but for this we have three sides of the front. Okay, so what we do is also indicate which one is going for which side, like the sides, which one is for the front and which one is for the back, and you go ahead and pin them down, ensuring that you're placing them properly. Now, for the front, the one mistake you don't want to make is your underbust areas not meeting properly. It's important for them to meet because it helps gives it that extra kick in it. I don't know if you understand that. So you need to ensure while you're placing your front piece together, your underbust areas are meeting. This is the essence of making notches while you're cutting out on your fabric piece. Okay, it helps for you to know where the points at which your underbust is. Okay, so I've done that for one. I'll repeat it on the other part of this because it's important for you to do this. So you can decide to make marks on this, like just mark it throughout before going over to your machine to sew. It also helps. Okay, I promise sometimes I do that also, it helps me. So you're going to be stitching this down by half of an inch later on. So if you're making marks on this, so you need to mark half of an inch on this. All right, so this is what I have after I've pinned it down. All right. So you want to ensure that the lines are matching properly. So this is what we have. You can already see that our breast area is cupping. Like it's already giving the effect. It's already giving what it should give. So go ahead and stitch it down by half of an inch on both sides of this. I'll repeat the same thing on the lining piece. So this is it after I did that. Now this is the lining for the bag. I've gone ahead to join them like I said I will. So this is both parts of my lining for my back piece. After I've joined them together, you can see what this looks like. So you can see the notch I made on that. And this is the main piece of my fabric for the back. You can see this looking nice already. This is looking pretty already. So this is what it looks like. So go ahead and open up our seams and iron it down. Okay, for the back, just go ahead, open up your seams, iron it down, repeat the same thing for your lining piece. Okay, so for the front, I've also stitched it down. You can see our front is giving, like I said already, it's giving everything. So we're going to open up the seams for the front. Okay, for this we'll be using our tailor's ham. If you don't know what that is, this is a tailor's ham. So this is a homemade tailor's ham made with fabrics and paper gum. So you can do that by yourself at home. So I'm just going to place this on my tailor's ham and give it a very, very good press. Okay, and I'll repeat the same thing on my lining piece. So this is it after I finished. I've ironed it. You can see the breast area is already standing. Like the princess dart is already darting. It looks nice already. So what we want to do is to turn this with our lining. So you're going to place this right side to right side. So ensure you place this right side to right side. So place this right side to right side. Ensure that they are matching along the neckline and stitch it down. You can go ahead and pin it down. So the first place you have to stitch is your neckline. After that, you stitch the sides before the ends of this. So ensure you stitch the neck area firstly. It is important. Okay, then for the back piece we'll also repeat the same thing. We are going to be flipping this with our lining. I've already gone ahead to iron it out. Okay, this cloth is looking nice already. So we'll get the matching lining for this back piece and we'll place them together, right side to right side, okay, and stitch the neckline firstly. It's important you stitch the neckline firstly, stitch down the zip allowance area, the sides, and then the down, leaving the armhole and the shoulder area open. So this is it after I joined it together. You can see how nice this looks already. You can see how giving it is already. It's looking nice already. Okay, so you can see the neckline. It came out nice. It came out looking quite good. All right. Then for the back, you can see this is one piece of our back, and this is the other piece of the back. So when you finish, you want to ensure you iron it properly. Give it a very good press so that it will relax. So what I want to do next is to join the shoulders together. To do this, I'm going to take one piece of my lining from either the front part or the back part and use that to wrap around the other ones. Okay, so you pick the lining of either your front part of your fabric or the lining of the back part. Then you place them together. You use that piece to wrap all of them together. Now, this is so that when you stitch it down, there will be no stitching showing inside or outside. It's going to be properly hidden inside. That is the reason for wrapping this up. So we're going to wrap it up, go in with our pins, pin it down properly. So you can see me trying to ensure everything is intact, and then go ahead and stitch it down by half of an inch, after which I repeat the same thing for the other one. So you can see how it looks after I did that. I've stitched it down. Okay, so what I want to go in and do is to just stitch down the side with the allowance we have remaining. So you want to go in and stitch down the sides with the allowance you have left. Okay, so after turning, you can decide to take your measurement so that you're accurate. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and close my sides together. So this is my top. This is what it looks like at the end of the day. I joined them, I've ironed it out. It looks so nice. All right, I also went ahead to fix my zipper to this. So if you are here at the end of this video and you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe. Let me know what you think about this. So I'll be going on later to add sleeves to this. All right, so ensure you subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.